Star Citizen 4.3 is here, and it might have just changed PvE forever. The new Onyx facilities are massive underground complexes packed with danger, secrets, and ties to the Regeneration Crisis arc. In this video, we're going deep on what these facilities are and why they might mark the beginning of a long-awaited shift in PvE content design. I'll explain why some of these features, if adapted elsewhere in the verse, could change Star Citizen for the better. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Captain Katarn. I cover Star Citizen here without the drama, the clickbait, or the performative outrage you get from other creators. If you're tired of that noise, subscribe and join the crew. I appreciate you. So, what are the Onyx facilities? Onyx is a reference to real-world black-budget programs, classified projects so deeply buried they don't show up in official records. Star Citizen is borrowing that same energy here. These facilities feel like disavowed experiments, sites the UEE would rather pretend don't exist. That fits perfectly with the Regeneration Crisis storyline, especially after Stormbreaker and Hathor. What's going on down there is ultra shady and it's officially denied. I won't spoil the full story here. These are playable, mission-enabled facilities from ASD, Star Citizen's umbrella corporation adjacent boogeyman, featuring mad scientists, experiments gone wrong, and secrets buried deep below the surface. From the moment you step inside, it's clear this isn't another bunker reskin. The Onyx facilities are dense with environmental storytelling, flickering red lights, shattered glass, corrupted terminals, and eerie ambient sounds that suggest whatever happened here, it didn't end well. And it's not just about the vibes. For the first time, we're seeing PvE locations that prioritize immersion, tactical movement, and story-driven objectives over open-world chaos. The missions here are still simple or fairly straightforward data retrievals, infiltrations with a few puzzle twists to get the mission MacGuffins, but more importantly, they feel like a taste of what's coming. And it lands in a major way. This is the best environment I've seen yet in Star Citizen. It shows what happens when you let the level designers from Squadron 42 loose into the PU. While Stormbreaker and Hathor used recycled assets from theaters of war and other pre-made buildings in the verse, this is a completely new facility with all the sci-fi references you'd expect. The level layout of the Onyx sites naturally supports tension and tactics, vertical, multi-level open areas, choke points, locked rooms with alternate entries. They're practically begging for squad-based infiltration and teamwork. To me, the facilities are calling to sci-fi classics like Mass Effect, Dead Space, and the first Resident Evil movie. Let's not forget, Star Citizen is still desperate for meaningful PvE that doesn't devolve into Twitch-kill PvP within seconds. That's the promise these sites offer. The Hathor and Stormbreaker content has been some of the best additions to the game that we've seen, but they are hidden behind the PvP tax that many players just won't interact with. I'd forgive you for being skeptical here too, but as we'll discuss, CIG has attempted to ensure that perhaps beyond the initial release, when entire servers are wanting to try out these facilities, you'll barely run into another player. Let's break that down. There are around 100 of these Onyx sites in the verse, all situated within the Stanton System. While you might be able to find one without the missions, it would be extremely difficult since they don't appear on the maps and only the red glow of the tower light could give them away from up close. The missions are designed to spread players out to different facilities in the verse, and encountering someone else should be rare by design. There's no incentive to kill each other either, as a crime stat locks you out of the missions altogether. Players determined to camp and kill others can technically do it, but man, that sounds boring as hell since you'll rarely encounter someone else at the same facility. Additionally, these introduce a majorly cool feature: instanced hangars at a mission location. Sure, we saw a bit of this at the distribution centers, but I never felt the need to use one there as PvPers don't congregate at those facilities. One of the reasons I'm convinced people don't like engaging in PvP is that often it's a griefing fest. See my video Star Citizen has a PvP problem for context linked below. Personally, I don't mind ground-based PvP at all. It's a level playing field. Unlike ship combat, where skill gaps and ship disparity can be massive, on foot, anyone with FPS experience can hold their own. Star Citizen's gunplay is solid enough that if you've played any modern shooter, your skills translate. The real issue? Finding that kind of fair fight outside of the contested zones is rare. Most of the time, what we get is lopsided, opportunistic, or just griefy. In fact, every time I've tried to do a line in mine, some idiot in another ship has blown up or tried to blow up my ship while I'm getting the keys needed to activate the antenna facility. That's maddening. With the Onyx facilities, you'll never have to worry about that again. It's a feature that I would really like to see CIG extend to the Hathor and Stormbreaker sites. Even if the hangar's elevators just lead to the surface after using them, securing your ship should be a priority. Let's be honest, there's nothing challenging about blowing up an empty ship. You're not cool, you're not a badass, you're just a jackass if you do. And having to babysit the ships while other people do the fun mission parts isn't compelling gameplay either. This is where CIG could really improve the game IMO. The lobbies of the facilities are enforced armistice zones as well, providing additional security to players as they come and go. Depending on the mission, you'll be sent to one of two siloed wings of the facility, either the research or engineering wing. Players that enter the facility won't necessarily have objectives in the same wing, further spreading them out. But these labs aren't just empty ruins, they're crawling with activity. Mercenary NPCs have also been dispatched to these sites, presumably by rival contractors, or perhaps rogue ASD factions, so you'll be fighting through waves of enemies as you progress. You'll need plenty of ammo, medical supplies, and I recommend a friend watching your back. The respawn rate on the PTU right now is pretty intense. The difficulty is significantly higher than standard bunker missions, not just because of the number of enemies, but also due to the new types of challenges introduced, like locked doors requiring found keycards or multi-tool repairs, environmental hazards such as radiation leaks or power surges, and more. For example, one mission involves using a multi-tool to repair equipment in the facility, which is a new puzzle element we haven't commonly seen in PU missions before. While you can attempt an Onyx facility solo, going alone will be very risky. If you have a co-pilot or a small crew, you can split tasks, one holding off waves of NPC guards while another hacks a terminal, for example, and revive each other if things go south. There's even a small medical clinic inside the lobby with working medical beds to treat injuries mid-mission. However, you currently cannot set your regeneration respawn point at these beds, meaning if you die, you won't respawn on site. You'll still wake up at a station or city hospital as usual. So don't die. Between the relentless NPC spawns, the expansive level design, and the integrated story elements featuring audio logs and clues about the regeneration crisis, these Onyx facilities are shaping up to be the most ambitious PvE content in Star Citizen so far. A refreshing change of pace from the simpler missions of earlier patches. If you've been waiting for something akin to a dungeon crawl or mini-campaign in Star Citizen, the Onyx labs might finally scratch that itch. As of now, the jury is still out on how this will play in the live environment. The PTU environment is a worst-case scenario for PvP frequency, because everyone on PTU is concentrated on the new stuff and often on fewer servers. When 4.3 goes fully live, we might indeed see the labs turn into mostly PvE experiences as intended. If you're a PvE lover, my advice is clear. Grab a friend or two, gear up, and dive in. You're in for one heck of an experience. Just keep your eyes peeled because you never know if someone else might be lurking, which is part of the fun. Well, it is to me at least. With these facilities, CIG has effectively said, we can't perfectly separate PvE and PvP yet, so we're doing our best to give everyone room. Time will tell if that's enough or we need instances. Will Onyx Labs become the template for fun, story-driven missions that players run over and over? Early signs point to yes. The content itself is already a hit, with many calling it the most fun they've had in the game in years, myself included. Beyond 4.3, I can imagine CIG expanding this idea to other locations and stories, perhaps Onyx-like facilities in Pyro, or entirely new types of dungeon content using similar mechanics. I'd love to see space-based, derelict Javelin capital ships to explore, or something similar. Maybe the wreckage of a major battle from Squadron 42 or the like. The tech and lessons learned from the content, plus the community's reception, will help shape those future designs. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've made it this far, you're already one of the crew, so let's make it official. Please subscribe and share the video. If you want to support the channel, there's a join button or my referral link to the Impound in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.